Dans cette vidéo, j'interviewe Edzard Ernst en lui posant une question: est-ce que l'ostéopathie, c'est validé scientifiquement? Si vous vous posez cette question, vous êtes au bon endroit. Pourquoi? Parce que Edzard Ernst, c'est probablement le plus grand spécialiste des médecines alternatives au monde. Ça fait un peu grandiloquent, dit comme ça, je sais, mais c'est probablement vrai. Dans les années 70, il était un des premiers à travailler sur l'homéopathie. Il était le premier professeur des médecines alternatives au monde. Il s'est fait attaquer par le prince Charles parce qu'il démontait les médecines alternatives et il a gagné son procès contre lui. Aujourd'hui, c'est vraiment l'une des plus grandes figures dans la recherche des médecines alternatives. On pose la question de est-ce que l'ostéopathie s'est validée scientifiquement, mais on va plus loin, on en essaie de comprendre pourquoi est-ce que les gens adhèrent aux médecines alternatives, qu'est-ce qu'ils y trouvent. Voilà, ça a vraiment été une conversation super intéressante. Si c'est quelque chose qui vous intéresse, voilà, vous êtes au bon endroit, je l'ai dit 3 fois. J'espère que vous aimerez cette vidéo. Ah, et information importante, c'est en anglais. Voilà, faire des sous-titres tout du long, c'est un gros travail, mais par contre, ce que je vous conseille, c'est la transcription automatique YouTube qui fonctionne sincèrement assez bien si vous comprenez pas assez. Voilà, je vous laisse avec la vidéo. Hello, hello Edzard.
Hello,
Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Ah, perfect, perfect. Okay, nice to meet you.
Likewise.
So I have a YouTube channel and I base a lot of things on your work. So it's I'm really pleased to meet you. Today I want to know a little bit more about osteopathy because I think it's really complicated to find good information about it on the net, etc. So what I want to do here is have a global view about osteopathy. So what we know today, and for that, and I have a few questions. So are you okay to go now?
Let's go.
Okay, perfect. So I'm just gonna take the questions. Okay, so so the first is a short answer. So what science says about osteopathy in general? Is it efficient? Can we have a short answer today?
The evidence does not really show that it works, surprisingly, because particularly in France, it's so popular, and one would expect much better evidence.
Okay. Why is it so popular in France? Do you have an idea?
I really don't know. I think the osteopaths have been amazingly pushy. They have been lying non-stop about what they can do and can't do. And the French have been, with all due respect, extremely gullible.
Yeah, okay. I'm Belgian, so it's okay. What's the number of studies today? Because a lot of osteopaths say that we don't have enough studies today to have an answer about it.
Well, you don't need studies in every nonsensical claim. If I claim that bungee jumping makes my headache go away, I don't need a clinical trial for that. And I don't think we need a clinical trial when osteopaths say that they can treat conditions like asthma, migraine, allergy. It's just simply too nonsensical, too implausible to run a clinical trial, because after all, a clinical trial is a large effort that requires the cooperation of patients, requires quite a lot of money. And all this is wasted if we do a clinical trial on implausible claims. So maybe the more plausible claims for osteopathy are musculoskeletal problems, particularly back pain and neck pain. And this is where we have actually some evidence. I don't call it good evidence because it's very contradictory. The trials are poor. The trials are biased very often. But at least we have some hints that osteopathy may work for back pain and neck pain. Having said that, I've spent my life as a clinician treating back pain, and I know very well that nothing is really extremely good for back pain. So being a little good for back pain doesn't provide a justification for a treatment like osteopathy.
Okay. Okay, very clear. Okay, so I think you answered the questions, but is there some studies today that show the benefits of structural osteopathy?
Well, there are some studies that suggest osteopathy is beneficial for musculoskeletal problems, but these studies tend to be of poor quality.
Okay.
Having said that, it is difficult to do high quality studies in manual therapy because it's difficult to include placebo control and that sort of thing. But at least one can make an effort to exclude bias, and very often that effort is not being done, and therefore the studies are of poor quality in my view.
Okay. Okay. About visceral osteopathy, what's your opinion on it?
Well, visceral osteopathy claims that inner organs can be influenced by manipulation, by manual therapy. And that is a far-reaching claim which has no basis in science. It is even more implausible than the standard osteopathy.
Okay. There is something that I don't really understand, because from what I see, it's not clear to me. But there are manual techniques on osteopathy and on kinesiotherapy, if I get right. And these techniques, from what I get, are the same. And to me, if it's working for kinesiotherapy and osteopathy, they have the same techniques. From what I know, kinesiotherapy proved the effects of the practice. So what do we say about manual techniques in general? Do we have proof of the benefits of these techniques?
Well, there are many dozens of different manual techniques, and you're right. Physiotherapists in France, you call them kinesiotherapists.
Yeah.
I prefer physiotherapists because that is much clearer. Because there's also a very weird modality called applied kinesiology, which has nothing to do with physiotherapy. Anyway, the physiotherapists, some physiotherapists do apply techniques that are common with osteopathy. But physiotherapists, firstly, are trained quite differently. They're not taught all the nonsense that osteopaths are being taught. They will not claim that they can cure asthma or all these things that I've mentioned before. And they have lots of other techniques and are based mainly on exercise therapies, different forms of exercise, which are undoubtedly helpful. The fact that some physiotherapists also engage in osteopathic techniques doesn't mean very much. Some physiotherapists do acupuncture. That doesn't justify acupuncture.
Yeah, I had a lot of questions, but I'm not sure that you will tell me that it's beneficial. You know that there are also other osteopathy as biodynamic, energetic. Do we have anything else than the structural osteopathy that show benefits in general? I don't know if my question is clear.
No. There are various variations. All of them are more weird than true osteopathy. There's cranial osteopathy, etc., based on assumed energy flow and stuff like that. And that is just too strange for words, and not supported by the slightest evidence. I would even claim that these forms of osteopathy are so implausible that they do not even deserve us discussing it, and they do not deserve proper clinical trial testing.
Can we have conclusion today about osteopathy? But you already answered the question. But What do you think that if we have more studies about it, we will discover more?
Yes, we will discover that it is nonsense.
Okay. Okay. So because in your blog you were saying that about mindfulness. My prediction is that the hype will shut down with time. What would be your prediction here with osteopathy with time? If you have.
It is for me very hard to understand the present boom in France of osteopathy. There are many osteopathic schools in France that turn out far too many osteopaths. So my prediction is that they will soon find themselves on the breadline. They will not earn enough money to make a living, and that the boom will hopefully subside quite soon.
Okay. Do you have an opinion about medicine, alternative medicine in general? Do you think that it will disappear one day?
No. No. Human beings are hardwired to always look for something else. We believe in magic, and that's okay. We shall carry on believing in all sorts of magical things, but it is the duty of responsible people, particularly doctors, to inform the public based on good, reliable evidence, and to prevent harm being done, because there's plenty of harm being done by the so-called harmless alternative therapies. So this conflict of, on the one hand side, reliable evidence-based information, and on the other hand, the need for magic and magic bullets and wonder cures will continue. This is a healthy struggle, and we shouldn't really hope that one day it will disappear. It will not disappear.
Okay, but it's making people happy in a way.
Yeah, it's making some people rich. It makes some people happy. But it also kills some people.
What do you think about placebo in general? Is it enough to justify an entire thing like osteopathy?
Certainly not. I think highly of the placebo effect, even though it is probably much smaller than we assume, because we subsumize under the umbrella of placebo effect things that are not really placebo. Like empathetic care, like regression towards the mean, like the history of the condition, the natural history of the condition, etc., etc. But I do believe the placebo effect exists. The evidence is there.
Yep.
But the crucial point here is that we don't need a placebo. We don't need a placebo therapy to generate a placebo effect. If you have any sort of symptom, let's say a migraine, you come to me and I give you something that actually effectively reduces your symptoms, and I do that with understanding, empathy, and adequate time, you will no doubt benefit from a placebo effect. No doubt you will also benefit from the specific effect of the treatment that I give you. In other words, if somebody like an osteopath or homeopath totally relies on the placebo effect, that person is cheating you out of something that is more important than the placebo effect itself, namely the specific effect of the treatment.
Oh, okay. 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 From what I see and from what I heard, there is the technical medicine and the art of medicine, like taking time, being empathic, giving a context to the people. Do you think that the conventional medicine have something to learn from alternative medicines, as homeopathy, acupuncture, like that some more spiritual medicines?
Yes, I do. And I've often said so and written about it. In modern medicine, we are in danger of forgetting about the art of medicine, about the humanity, about the importance of understanding, empathy, and all these factors. And these factors are not magic. There's good evidence for that. There are good studies on that. And we should remember that there's good evidence for that, and we shouldn't neglect it. People often go and see alternative practitioners because they feel that their physician doesn't have time, understanding, empathy, and all these things which I often call the art of medicine. And that is regrettable because it is actually an essential part of any good medicine. If we forget about it in conventional medicine, we are almost pushing people towards alternative practitioners, and that is to the detriment of good healthcare.
Okay. And why do you think that people like classic medicine isn't taking the time for that? Because there is not the time for them, there is too much people, or?
Yeah, it's partly the system that doctors have to work under. I don't know a single doctor who wouldn't like to have more time. But if the system is at fault, then we need to change the system. It's very easily said and difficult to do, but in my view, there's no doubt about it. We need to remember that patients are not just diagnoses, but they're human beings with worries and with spiritual concerns, and all of these need to be taken care of. That is called good medicine. It's not called alternative medicine.
Okay. So for me, I have everything. I have a question, but it's more for me. Like every time I learn about alternative medicine, I just learn. Okay. It seems like it's bullshit. Do you know that some alternative medicines that seems to have effects, really interesting effects today in the field of alternative medicines? So.
Yeah, I was once asked by a German publisher to write a book about the 20 best and the 20 worst alternative therapies, and I struggled finding 20 best alternative therapies, but I did. The book has been published in German, and quite obviously, the most positive results we find in herbal medicine. That's not very surprising because more than 50% of our modern drugs are based on the plant kingdom. So plants do contain active compounds. Some plants can kill us. Some plants can cure us. So we find some plant medicines that are effective. If they are effective, there are also side effects, sometimes prominent side effects, but at least they have some effects. And then we find mind-body therapies, mindfulness, for instance, massage therapy. But as I said, I had to really scrape the barrel for finding 20 treatments that are effective, and 20 with clear indications. No, if I say massage therapy, it doesn't mean massage therapy for everything. It means massage therapy for back pain, for instance. And the point I'm trying to make here is that practically all of these therapies are advocated as a cure-all. Acupuncture cures everything. Homeopathy cures everything. That's bullshit.
Okay, perfect. I think we do have everything.